Hello again, YouTubers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm your host, the Board Game Captain, and today I'm going to be reviewing and showing you how to play Sonar. Now, Sonar was designed by Roberto Fraga and Johan Lemonnier. I hope I am pronouncing those names correctly. And it was published by Matago Games. Now, this game is for ages 8 and up for 2 to 4 players and is listed at 30 minutes. Now I'm going to start there. The ages 8 and up is a pretty good estimate. This is a fairly basic game. You just need in fact, I would say that children under the age of 8 would even be able to get this, especially if they're used to playing games and understand the basics of how the basic mechanics work in this. If you have a child that's even a year or two under 8, but you play board games with, they might actually be okay with this, especially if you're doing the 4-player version, you have an older person on their team to help them out. I think actually you could even go less than 8, believe it or not. Now, the 2 to 4 players, I have a slight problem with this, and that is the 3-player count, which is possible but is weird. Generally speaking, I think this game is much better at either 2 or 4 players and is best at 4 in my opinion. And now this game is about 2 submarines that are outmaneuvering each other and trying to find each other and then destroy each other with torpedoes. And the thing is that this game at 4 players has you and your teammate talking to each other a little bit and trying to figure out where your opponent is while trying to outmaneuver your opponent and not let them find you. While at 2 players, it's more of a quiet, contemplative, brain burners, out strategizing your opponent with no talking going on except for calling out the directions you're moving or the special actions you're doing. But at 3 players, it's a little weird because you have one player doing the quiet thing while the other 2 players are talking back and forth. And it seems a little too easy for the 2 players to give something away to the 1 player. It is doable, but I like it better at 2 and 4 and best at 4. Now, as for the 30 minutes, this is a good estimate. This is a very quick game. I've even had multiple games that have gone faster than 30 minutes. It's very lickety-split. So without any further ado, let me open this up and show you what comes in the box when you buy your copy of Sonar. So if I can get the box open here we go. So the first thing we have is the rules. Now the rules are very nice. They're full color. They have lots of diagrams to show you examples, and they are all of 4 pages long. The rules are very easy, and you will be playing this game about 10 minutes after you start reading the rules. It's that quick. You read through them, you teach everybody else, and you're ready to go. And this game takes about 3 minutes to teach someone. It's that easy to grasp. Now, the next thing we have here are these clear sheets that you draw on with dry erase markers for trying to figure out where your opponent's submarine are. These are one of the main components of the game and are very important. The next thing we have here is the screen. Now, the screen goes up in the middle of the table so that you and your team and your opponent's team do not see each other's sheets to see how close you are to figuring out where they are or where their submarine is. But the screen could have just been, and I want to draw attention to this, it could have been plain white or a very basic thing. Instead, they have not 1, but 2 pieces of artwork on the screen, which are really nicely done, really cool. And I really like the screen. This is a very nice component. 2 thumbs up for that, definitely. Then after that, we have the boards. Now, you and your teammate will each take a pair of the same board with the same color. So for instance, these are the 2 of the same board with the same set of islands. This is another pair with a different set, but the same with each other set of islands. And you have 1 for the captain and 1 for the radio operator, and that is how you will play the game. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. Your opponent, on the other hand, will have the same pair of sheets because you're going around the same island chain, but one team will be with the blue sheets and the other with the yellow sheets just to differentiate between the 2 sets of those islands. And there are actually quite a few different island chains to choose from, which is very nice because the ones with more islands are much easier. The more islands you have, like this one here is very easy. The more islands you have, the quicker the game is, the easier it is to figure out where your opponent is, because as they have to maneuver around the islands, you can move the transfer around and see, oh, they couldn't have gone here. That would have had to have taken them through an island. The ones with less and less islands are harder the less islands you have, the harder it is to figure out where your opponent is. So you can really adjust the difficulty and the time of the game based on which ones of these sheets you decide to use. Now, the final set of components, which is also incredibly important, is the dry erase markers. And there's 4 of these because every player needs one of these dry erase markers. These are very nice. They have a nice sharp tip for drawing with, and they do have an eraser on the back. Now, I do want to point out the eraser is fine for doing small erasures, little things, but when erasing the whole board or doing large erasures, I do usually like to have a tissue handy to wipe the whole board clean, because while this doesn't really cover a huge amount of space. But that being said, that's not necessary. Everything you do need for this game does come in the box. So that's it. That's everything that comes in the game box for Sonar. So now let's head over to the table. I'm going to show you how the game plays and run you through a few turns, and then we're going to come back. I'm going to talk about how this game feels. I'm going to review it and rate it, and then we're going to get a second opinion from Lynn. So here we can see a setup for a game of Sonar. We have the screen in the middle of the table here, so the teams cannot see each other. The teams can be either 2 or 1 player, of course. And on my side of the board, I've got my 2 sheets showing the same group of islands that we are going to be battling in. On the captain's sheet, I have the name of my team written down here, and I will mark my starting location for my submarine, and then I will move my submarine around on this map, and every time I move it, I will fill in an energy here, and then instead of moving, I can do the special actions of a sonar ping, silence, or a torpedo, which cost 2, 3, and 4 energy respectively. So I have to build up the energy before using it, and while moving around, I cannot cross islands or my own line. I can never cross the line I have already gone over. Over here, I have the radio operator, and here the radio operator will take notes and mark lines down to try to figure out where my opponent is. Now, if you're playing 4-player, each player takes one of these roles, but if you're playing 2-player, you're going to do both yourself. So we're going to start this off, and I'm going to say north. So I mark here that I went north on my sheet, and my opponent's radio operator will, of course, be tracking that, and I fill in one of the energy on my energy gauge.
I'm going to go west.
Okay, so I mark that here on my overlay and put in a possible starting point, but of course I can move this around to anywhere on my sheet. So let's see, I'm going to go north again.
I'm going to go west.
Okay, I'm going to erase my 2 energy and do a sonar ping. F. So now I know that at this point, my opponent is in F. I just don't know where they are in F, but it actually did eliminate 1 possible location, actually 2 possible locations in F, so that's a good start. So now what are you going to do?
I'm going to do a sonar ping as well.
Okay, 3. Okay, I'm going to go west.
I'm going to go north.
Okay, I'm going to go west.
I'm going to go east.
I'm going to go north.
I'm going to do another sonar ping.
2. I'm going to do a silence with my 3 energy. Now this allows me to move 1 space without telling my opponent where I moved to. Okay.
I'm going to go north.
I'm going to go west.
I'm going to go west.
I'm going to go west as well.
I'm going to do another sonar ping.
I'm in 2. I'm going to go south.
I'm going to go north.
I'm going to go south.
I'm going to go west.
I'm going to try to fire a torpedo at you.
Okay.
So I'm going to erase all my energy here. Now, I'm going to guess that you are in 1E.
No.
Okay. Now that is how a game is played of Sonar. So now I had narrowed it down here, as you can see on my radio operator sheet, that my opponent was not here, or here, or here, but could possibly be there, not there, and not there. So I narrowed it down to 3 possible locations, and I took a shot. Now I missed, but now that helps me realize that they're probably either here or here, and I would keep playing until I could take another shot. You don't want to do too many sonars because your opponent can keep feeding you the information they already know you have. Sometimes you just have to do some process of elimination and take some torpedo shots at your opponent. Now you keep playing until one team can hit their opponent with torpedoes twice. If you get hit with the torpedo, you mark off the damage here, and then the second one destroys your submarine. That would be it. That'd be the end of the game. And that's the gist of how you play a game of Sonar. So now let's head back over. I'm going to review the game and rate it, tell you how it feels, and we're going to get a second opinion from Lynn. Okay, welcome back. So that was how you play a game of Sonar. Now, as you can see, this game is very easy to understand. The movements are very simple, and definitely, I mean, now this is a sister game to the slightly more advanced and requiring a larger number of players game of Captain Sonar, but both of these games feel like spiritual successors to the classic game of Battleship. But while in the game of Battleship, all you do is set up your pieces and your opponent has to find them, and that's it. There's no more movement. In this, you move every turn, and the movement helps your opponent to find you. And while Battleship is just not really a very good game anymore, this gives you the same kind of fun you got from Battleship as a kid, but while being a good game and being much more involved and interesting. There may not be a large amount of rules, but there's a large amount of depth with the way you can use the different special abilities, and you're trying to outmaneuver your opponent, and you're trying to figure out where your opponent is. Do you decide to do a silence to stop them from figuring out where you are? Or do you do a sonar ping to try to figure out where they are? Do you just, instead of doing a sonar ping, because you already kind of have narrowed it down to a few locations, do you fire off a torpedo to either hit them and know exactly where they are, or possibly further narrow it down? And these are the decisions you make while you're playing the game. Now, again, I do want to point out, I like this game best at 4 players. At 4 players, this is a fantastic, lightweight game night game, a good one to start off with. It's really, really fun, and it's definitely one of the ones I go right to suggesting when we have 4 people. At 2 players, it's still good. I just like it slightly less at 2 players, but it's still really fun, and actually it's more your wits versus your opponents, just a one-on-one strategic and tactical battle. I really like this game a lot, if you can't tell by how much I'm gushing over it. Sonar is great. It's why I give Sonar 8 out of 10 stars, because I love this game. I'll play it anytime someone asks. It's one of those games where I will play it multiple times in a row. I've played it as many as 3 games in a row. It's tons of fun. I'll pull it out anytime I have either 4 or 2 players to play a game. And there you have it, 8 stars out of 10 from me. But differing opinions do matter. So let's get a second opinion from Lynn. Lynn, how many stars out of 10 would you give to Sonar?
7.
So Lynn gave it 7 out of 10 stars, which also means that she really enjoys the game and will play it anytime someone asks. She doesn't like it quite as much as I do, but she does enjoy it, and she really does enjoy figuring out where her opponents are and killing them. But so there you have it. This is definitely a 2 thumbs up review from us here at the Board Game Captain. 8 stars from me, 7 stars from Lynn. We both thoroughly enjoy Sonar, and this is one that has earned a probably permanent, unless something else replaces it, position in our game collection. We highly recommend this game to you if you enjoy hidden movement games, if you enjoy deductive reasoning games, if you enjoy these sort of light entry-level games to help teach other people how to play. And you know what? And if you, when you were a kid, enjoyed the game of Battleship, but then realized that it wasn't really deep enough and wasn't that interesting, but would like to get the enjoyment out of it, if any of that applies to you, buy Sonar. This game is great. So there you have it. Do you have any comments, questions, or concerns either on the game of Sonar or on this video? Feel free to put them in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see us do more review and tutorial videos like this one, be sure to give this video a like, share this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.